year ago, I uploaded a video titled Best Armor in Halo 5. It was my first video that I ever uploaded to reach 100,000 views and took me down a path of no longer just being a tips and tricks competitive Halo YouTuber, but I also started looking at Halo 5 from every angle that I could, and I analyzed every aspect of it. Anyway, if you've never seen this video before, it goes into analyzing the advantages of certain armor sets in Halo 5, namely using an armor set with a large body and a small head to change the way that other players viewed your Spartan and making you harder to hit. Your actual hitbox doesn't change, but the perceived smaller head might make it harder for players to get headshots on you in multiplayer. And in social game modes, my theory was very accurate. I found that I could stay alive longer and easier when I wore armor that made my head look smaller. Now I want to revisit this theory, but instead of looking at armor's geometry, I wanted to look at the underlying meaning of armor. The Achilles helmet is easily one of the most notorious armors in Halo 5 and arguably all of Halo. I got in touch with Unisec, and the official amount of Achilles helmets that have been given out as of June 15th, 2017 was 6,660. That's nowhere near the rarest item in Halo, but it's still fairly rare. Achilles is known for being a sought-after helmet, but it's more notoriously known for being a helmet worn by only the most dedicated of Halo 5 players. Due to the massive amounts of kills, medals, and points that must be earned, many associate the Achilles helmet with tryhards. Now, I personally hate the term tryhard. It's a video game. Who cares if someone wants to perform well? But nevertheless, whenever someone on the other team is wearing the Achilles helmet, the first thing to pop into everyone's mind is, well, this is going to be a tough match. Whether you think that about Achilles or not, it is definitely true that Achilles does hold that power with a good amount of players in the community. The question that I wanted to answer is, does that subconscious thought lead to better outcomes for the player wearing Achilles? So what I did is I wore the Achilles armor in different playlists, and I played like I normally would. And what I found is that while wearing Achilles, I did get an advantage. I found that I overall played better, won more gunfights, and got higher sprees. The Achilles armor made me look cool and actually play better, but how? Perception is a term for how a person interprets sensory information that is presented to them. Perception is also different for everyone. I found that the advantages I was feeling were more or less only in social playlists and Warzone. In these playlists, lower level players are more common, skill gaps are much wider, and the perception that the Achilles helmet equals a good and dangerous player is alive and well. Understand that I was playing lower level players while in these playlists, so I would have done well regardless, but the degree of how well I did skyrocketed while wearing the Achilles helmet. My average Warzone kill-death ratio over my entire career was 2.767, but my average Warzone kill-death ratio while wearing the Achilles helmet in the time that I recorded it was 4.09. That's almost twice as good. Also, keep in mind that I wasn't playing with any teams at the time. I was completely matching solo queue. As you can see, there was a massive increase in my kill-death ratio while wearing Achilles. My KD nearly doubled as a result of me wearing Achilles armor. I didn't change my techniques or any aspects of my playstyle. I simply just wore a more notorious armor. This armor could have possibly given the other team the impression that I was still playing better than I am. They went into gunfights and situations with me in-game thinking that I was definitely going to come out on top. When you go into a situation, no matter what the situation is, and you have a negative idea of what the outcome will be, there is always a good chance that things will not work out for you, and this applies to Halo with the Achilles armor. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Some players on the enemy team may have saw my armor and played worse because of it. And this is definitely not the only time that altered perception has changed the way that players play in video games. One prime example comes from Xander Hume, who makes music and other noises for video games. He talks about an example of video game perception, and I'm going to let him do the talking here.
There's an excellent example about a Wolfenstein versus shooter where there were two opposite sides, each with basically the same gun copy-pasted with different assets on it, so it looked slightly different and it sounded different. And one was like, and the other one was like, whichever teams had the gun complained. They're like, this gun's underpowered. It's not as good as the other one. And the devs looked at the stats and they're like, oh, players with the worst sounding gun are actually performing poorly. So they replaced it with this like sound. And everyone was like, oh, thanks for fixing that gun and making it more powerful.
Matt Pat, the host of Game Theory, also did a whole episode on how red and blue teams interact with each other even at the pro level of video games. So it's pretty easy to say that a lot about our perception goes into how we play video games. And it's not too outlandish to think that a notorious armor like the Achilles armor, especially the Achilles helmet, being that it is much harder to unlock than the armor, would somehow affect the way other lower level players and maybe even some mid to high level players would look at you you in Warzone if you were wearing it. I also played a good deal of free-for-all, and I found that in free-for-all I didn't seem to have any advantage, but that's because I'm playing at a higher level in free-for-all. Maybe not everyone in the higher tiers of free-for-all finds the Achilles helmet notorious and scary. To conclude, no, the Achilles armor will not make you an instant pro, but it may give you an advantage over players who believe that the Achilles helmet is a notorious helmet that only belongs to high-leveled and very dangerous players. Please comment down below on your thoughts, and if you have the Achilles helmet, there's only about 6,000 of you out there, so I'm sure some of you have it. If you liked this video and maybe want to learn a little bit more about Halo, one of the easiest ways is with Audible. Audible is an audiobook service from Amazon. They currently have all of the Halo novels on audiobook, so you can learn a lot more about Halo lore. Currently, Audible is offering a free trial to anyone that clicks the link in the description and signs up there. You'll get a free audiobook as well as a free 30-day trial that you can cancel anytime. And here's the best part, even if you cancel, you get to keep that audiobook. You have nothing to lose and only a bunch of Halo lore knowledge to gain. So click the link in the description to get started with your free and risk-free 30-day trial of Audible. I want to thank you all for watching. Please stay notable, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.